Hi, I wanted to make this video because I've been thinking. And this time I've been thinking about when you lose someone. So the reason I've been thinking about when you lose someone is because I've had a bit of experience with this recently, so I've been thinking about it a lot. So it's a bit of a sad one this time, but I'm always looking for the positives. So the idea is still that we'll find some positives to take away by the end of the video. So I've been thinking about the experience of losing someone and what I can learn from it, and whether I want to change anything about how I live my life because of the things I've learned after losing someone. It's such a sad feeling to lose someone that you've liked having in your life, so that it almost makes me question whether I even want people in my life that I care about. But of course I do. It's just hard to accept that caring about people comes with that emotional cost if or when they leave you. So I've been going through a lot of emotions recently, and it's reminded me a bit of the Christmas Carol story of being visited by the ghosts of the past, the present, and the future. I've been thinking about all the memories I have from the past and how I'm feeling in the present, and also how the future will look different because of the people who'll be missing. The emotions are so mixed because I'm glad to have the happy memories, but those happy memories are also making me sad because I know there won't be any more to be made with those people. And it's also had the effect of making me worry more about the possibility of losing other people from my life, knowing how much it would hurt me if it happened. You know, those fun connections you might have with people can suddenly start to feel more serious when you think about losing them. Your whole life can start to feel fragile, like a house of cards that could easily be knocked down by a change of circumstances. I mean, that fact isn't any truer from one day to the next, but losing someone acts as such a strong reminder of how fragile life is and how things can turn painful quite quickly. We can't stop life from unfolding in the way that it's going to, but how do we look ahead with optimism when we can see so much opportunity for pain? It's a big question, but it's an important one, and I've been spending some time thinking about it because I want to learn and to apply those things to my life where I can and share with other people so that we can try to live positively, but also so that we don't feel alone in our challenges. So if you're familiar with any of my previous videos, you'll know that I'm a positive person by nature. So admitting to these sad feelings is quite hard for me. But I need to accept that being positive doesn't make me immune to the challenges in life. I still get sad about things, but the positivity in me is always looking around for some lessons to be learned or some ways to help me feel better and to look ahead with hope. So I've definitely needed to start by allowing myself time to just sit with the feelings and let them happen. I think our brains need time to process the information when we lose someone and to work through the feelings. And it's important for us to find some quiet space for that to happen. I've needed time to reflect on things and to talk to other people who understand, and to cry if I needed to, or to smile or laugh if I wanted to, without any pressure or judgment. I have to admit it's been tiring. Having those sad emotions seems to give me a certain type of headache and a a tightness in my throat and a feeling in my eyes that makes me feel very tired. And I've definitely slept a bit more than usual and not always at the right times. But I think that's also part of the journey, and I've been trying not to fight it. But the tiredness is starting to lift, and I'm feeling a bit more ready to learn some lessons and to start applying them. And I know that the journey of grief isn't a straight line, and I'm likely to feel back at the beginning sometimes, and that's okay too. I think it's important to remind yourself that there isn't a right or wrong for anyone, so it's best to try not to judge yourself or anyone else when it comes to grief. But now that I'm trying to look ahead, I'm ready to share some of the things I've been thinking about and that I've learned, and also some of the things that have been helping me to look forward with hope and positivity. So I think at the very basic level, I've found that you can't get back to feeling normal if you don't start to get back to your normal routines, like eating proper meals at the times that you usually would, and bringing the structure back to your day. I've always found that walking is helpful, but I've been finding it even more helpful than ever. It's a useful distraction, as well as a good way to release some of the physical tension that you might not even realise is building up. The walking has been so helpful for me that I've sometimes felt I didn't want the walk to finish because I didn't want to go back to not having the distraction afterwards. And I've been adding an extra walk to my day at times when I've needed it. So I definitely suggest that as a recommendation, if you can manage it. It's a helpful distraction, and it always feels a bit of a reset for the mind because it can take the pressure away from being alone with your thoughts. I've also found sleeping quite helpful at times to get away from my thoughts. I think, your brain can still be processing the new information while you're asleep, but you probably won't be aware of it, so that can be a bit of a relief if you can manage it. I've been allowing myself to have some naps during the day, and I think they've been quite helpful. I find that sometimes that going to bed can come with a bit too much pressure to be able to get to sleep, so having a nap on the sofa can be a bit less pressured. I sometimes put something on the TV for some background noise, and then I can accidentally, on purpose, get some good rest. And, I generally wake up feeling better than before I went to sleep. I have moved on from that now, but it was helpful in the earlier stages, so I thought that would be worth mentioning. So my next tip is to try not to panic. I'm not sure if other people feel like this, but I've found that panic can start to appear out of nowhere, and I won't necessarily realise that it's happening. And once I've realised that it's happening, I can generally talk myself out of a panic as long as I notice that that's what's happening. So I've tended to panic about things that I can no longer change, like things I could have said or done, or I panic about memories that I can't clearly find in my mind. And it can feel quite overwhelming and uncontrollable. But when I notice that it's happening, I can remind myself that they're just thoughts, and that nothing is actually any different than it was 5 minutes ago when I wasn't panicking. So it's okay to calm down and stop the panic. And I can focus on taking some deep breaths and trusting that the panic will pass, and it always does. I do sometimes use a few meditation techniques if I'm struggling to calm down my mind. If you've never tried it, I really recommend giving it a go. I discovered it during lockdown a few years ago, and I've used it during times when I need a bit of help to calm down. And you can find lots of guided meditations on YouTube or other apps. But the idea is to focus your mind on something simple, like your breath moving in and out. But you focus so hard and notice every detail of it so that you clear your mind of any other thoughts. And it can be a very soothing thing to do and can help you to escape from thoughts that can sometimes seem hard to escape from. In the longer term, I can help with those feelings by collecting together some of my important memories. So I've been gathering photos and writing down thoughts as they come to me. And this has given me comfort that I won't forget the things that are most important to me. I've also been reminding myself that I always try my best in any situation. So whatever I did or didn't do in the past would have been based on the reality of the situations around me and would have been what I thought was right at the time. So it doesn't need to be raked over again now when nothing can be changed anyway. I think it's the sort of advice that you'd probably give to a friend who was feeling that way. So there's no reason that you can't also give that reassuring advice to yourself. You know, you're a good person and you don't need to be unkind to yourself or to look for reasons to feel bad. So my last tip for now is that I've been giving myself permission and also a bit of a push to get out and do something that I enjoy. The situation doesn't change or get any better by continuing to wallow and feel bad, and the person that you've lost doesn't want you to suffer. I like to think that they'll be pleased that we miss them, but they'll want us to enjoy the life that we still have. So we can respect their memory by trying to get back to enjoying our lives. This can take a bit of effort to start with, but it's important to keep going and to try not to allow any guilt. But if you do feel any of that creeping in, then remind yourself of those things that nobody that we care about would want us to be miserable. So we have to keep going to honour their memory. You know, we're all just learning and growing, no matter what age we are. And if our life is still going, then we can use it for good. We can try to spread positivity and help other people, or just try to live our own lives with more purpose or joy. So those are the practical things that I've found helpful to get me through the early days of losing someone. In terms of looking ahead, I've realised that I want to change a few things about how I live my life. Not with any pressure, but just with some extra intention that I want to keep in touch with people more often and make more of an effort to nurture my relationships. I want to take more photos and to record more of the special moments in my life so that I have the chance to look back at them if I want to. I want to use the experience of losing someone to keep me focused on what's important in life and to keep shaping my life around that. And I think that that might help me in the future if I lose someone else. I don't want to live in fear of loss. I want to live with the hope of good times ahead and with the knowledge that I'm living each day in a way that is least likely to bring me any feelings of regret in the future. I can't control what will happen in the future, but living with purpose and with hope is a choice, so I want to choose that. I don't want to allow too much sadness because I think sadness is only really there because of happiness. So I want to aim to carry the happy memories with me of the people in my life, and I'll look to build more of those in the future and to try to make myself a part of other people's happy memories by being a good friend and a positive influence in people's lives. There isn't only one way to be happy in life, so just because your life might have changed, it doesn't mean that you won't be happy again. And I've learnt before about how to be happy, and I've found it a useful reminder again now. And I remember that I need to be grateful and to be hopeful and to do nice things for other people and to make plans for the future to look forward to. And I think those things are more important now than ever. So I really do plan to keep going back to them. So, thinking back to the original question, are there positive things that I can take away from the experience of losing someone from my life? And I think yes. After taking some time for some quiet reflection and grieving, I do want to move forward with optimism and hope. I don't want their legacy to be that they made me miserable. I want it to be that they helped me to move my life in a direction that will be more fulfilling and more purposeful than it would otherwise have been. I think it's a legacy that they could be proud of, and it's within my control to do it. So that's what I'm planning to do. So I hope you've been able to take something useful from this video, but I think that's all for this time. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.